I spent 2 years tending to my comatose fiancée. Every single day, I wiped her down, gave her massages, and read her the financial news. Everyone called me a simp, a gold digger trying to cling to the sterling family fortune. Today, she finally woke up. But her so-called one true love, the award-winning actor Julian Vane, was the first to rush into the hospital room. He grabbed her hand, eyes dripping with deep affection. "Vicky, you're finally awake. I missed you so much these last 2 years." I was just about to read the room and get the hell out, stepping aside for the star-crossed lovers. But the Ice Queen CEO on the hospital bed slowly lifted her eyes and kicked the actor flying. I was asleep, not dead. Her icy voice hit the floor with a heavy thud. "Get away from me, you manipulative hack." "Mr. Vane, you can't go in." "Ms. Sterling just woke up. She needs rest." "Get out of my way. Vicky is awake. I have to be the first one she sees." The ward door was violently shoved open, and a man in a bespoke suit, handsome enough to make angels weep, stormed in. It was Julian Vane, the famous actor and the white moonlight hidden in the heart of my vegetative fiancée, Victoria Sterling. I was holding a warm towel, about to wipe Victoria's face, my hand freezing in midair. Julian shoved me aside, threw himself at the bedside, and grabbed Victoria's hand, his eyes instantly turning red. "Vicky, you're finally awake. Do you have any idea how worried I've been for 2 years?" His voice choked up, a performance worthy of an Oscar. If you didn't know better, you'd think he was the one who had been dutifully serving at her bedside. I tactfully retreated to the corner, waiting for their tearful reunion to wrap up so I could process my resignation, collect my severance pay, and disappear into the wide world to start my life of early retirement. As a transmigrator who had been transported into this novel, I knew the plot. After Victoria woke up, she would rekindle her romance with Julian. As for me, the nominal fiancé, I was destined to act out of jealousy, get crushed by their combined power, and meet a miserable end. I was tired, truly. In my previous life, I hustled until I dropped dead at my office desk. In this life, stuck as the doormat supporting character, all I wanted to do was lie flat, to relax and do absolutely nothing. For 2 years, I punched in at the hospital like it was a job, cleaning, massaging, reading stories, just fulfilling a contract. Now that the main character was back, it was time for me to bow out. On the bed, Victoria's eyelashes trembled slightly before she slowly opened her eyes. They were cold eyes, like blades tempered nice. She scanned the room before her gaze locked onto Julian's deeply emotional face. "Vicky, you're awake. This is amazing." Julian was incoherent with excitement, leaning in to kiss her. I even closed my eyes, preparing to give them privacy. Thud, a muffled sound. I opened my eyes to see Julian flying away from the bedside in a perfect parabola. He slammed heavily against the wall and slid to the floor. The entire hospital room fell into a dead silence. Everyone was petrified. Victoria slowly retracted her long, straight leg, sweeping her gaze over Julian on the floor like he was trash. I was asleep, not dead. Her voice wasn't loud, but it carried an undeniable authority. Every word hit like hail. "You manipulative hack, get the hell away from me." Julian clutched his chest, a look of utter disbelief on his face. "Vicky, what's wrong?" "It's me, Julian." Victoria's lips curled into an arc of extreme mockery. "In the last 2 years, did you wipe my body down even once? Did you change my medicine even once? Do you even know which way the door to my room opens?" Julian's face turned the color of a pig's liver. Victoria's gaze slowly shifted, finally landing on me. My heart skipped a beat. Here it comes. Is the plot starting? Is it my turn to be purged? Ew. She looked at me and spat out one word. I shuddered, immediately standing up straight, ready to accept my sentence. "Come here." I paused, pointing at myself. She nodded. I shuffled over carefully, stopping by her bed. She reached out her hand. I thought she was going to hit me, so I instinctively flinched. Her hand paused in midair, her brow furrowing almost imperceptibly. Then I watched helplessly as she used the same hand that had just launched a movie star across the room to gently, tenderly fix my slightly messy collar. The air of the room seemed to solidify in that moment. "Caleb." Victoria called my name, her voice devoid of anger or joy. "Here," I responded quickly. "It's been hard on you these past 2 years." My brain buzzed, going blank. The script wasn't written like this. Shouldn't she be looking at me with disgust, telling me to get lost, and then throwing herself into her true love's arms? Not hard. Just doing my duty, I stammered, feeling like my CPU was about to overheat. Victoria gave me a deep look, complex enough that I couldn't decipher it. Then, she turned to the bodyguards and doctors at the door who were still in shock. Throw this man out. From now on, anyone named Vane and that dog he keeps around are forbidden from stepping foot in Sterling Corp. Her voice returned to its usual cold decisiveness. The bodyguards snapped out of their trance, rushing in to grab Julian, who was still dazed on the floor, and dragged him out like a dead dog. Vicky, you can't do this to me. Vicky. Julian's screams faded into the distance. The room returned to silence. Victoria's parents, the chairman and his wife, finally recovered from their shock. Mrs. Sterling rushed to the bed, gripping her daughter's hand excitedly. Vicky, you're finally awake. Mom was worried sick. Chairman Sterling looked relieved too, but mostly confused, his eyes darting between me and Victoria. Vicky, what is going on? You and Julian. Victoria cut him off. Dad, Mom, I'm tired. I want to rest. We'll talk about other things later. Once she spoke, no one dared to question her. The doctors immediately stepped forward to conduct a comprehensive examination. I was left hanging to the side, completely an outsider. This plot twist was too stimulating. I leaned against the wall, fished an apple out of my pocket, and took a loud, crunchy bite. Sweet, crisp, good for the nerves. The examination lasted a long time. Apart from being weak from long-term bed rest, Victoria was fine. After sending the doctors away, Victoria asked her parents to go rest as well. Only she and I were left in the room. The atmosphere instantly became awkward. I nibbled on my apple, not knowing what to say. She just stared at me quietly, giving me the creeps. Is the apple good? She suddenly asked. I froze, answering instinctively, It's okay. Pretty sweet. She nodded, then said something that almost made me swallow the apple core. Let's get married. Cough, cough, cough. I choked so hard I thought I'd die, my face turning red. She thoughtfully handed me a glass of water. I downed it in a few gulps before catching my breath, looking at her in disbelief. Ms. Sterling, did you catch a fever? What kind of brain circuit was this? Kick out the true love, marry the simp side character? I'm not joking. Victoria's expression was incredibly serious. For 2 years, you took meticulous care of me. Victoria, Sterling repays her debts. Marrying you is the most sincere repayment I can offer. I understood. She was repaying a debt. She saw my care as a favor and wanted to use marriage to settle the score. I looked at her face, flawlessly beautiful, yet cold as an ice sculpture, and suddenly laughed. Ms. Sterling, there are many ways to repay a debt. I tossed the finished apple core accurately into the trash can and clapped my hands. For example, you could absolutely give me a sum of money. Enough money to keep me clothed and fed for the rest of my life. Then we break the engagement, go our separate ways, and everyone's happy. Isn't that beautiful? I looked at her with expectation. Money. I only wanted money. Who cares about being the CEO's husband? I just wanted to take the cash, travel the world, eat global cuisine, and live my life of leisure. Victoria's brow furrowed deeply for the first time on my account. You don't want me? Her voice carried a trace of confusion I couldn't quite place. Was she kidding? Marry a workaholic ice queen? My lazy life would be ruined. Facing a cold face every day? Suffocating. Marriage is too tiring. Dealing with your relatives is even more tiring. I won't do it. I waved my hand, my attitude firm. Ms. Sterling, just give me the money. 50 million. No, 100 million. Buying out 2 years of my youth is a bargain. Victoria fell silent. She looked at me, her eyes flashing with scrutiny, confusion, and even a hint of hurt. Hurt. I must have seen that wrong. Caleb, she spoke again, her voice lower. Are you sure? I'm positively, absolutely sure. I nodded like a bobblehead. She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and when she opened them again, the emotion was gone, replaced by cold rationality. Fine, I agree. 100 million will be wired to your account tomorrow. My lawyer will contact you to handle the engagement termination. Thank you, Ms. Sterling. You're generous. I almost bowed to her in excitement. Yes, 100 million. The startup capital for my life of doing absolutely nothing was secured. I left the hospital room in high spirits, completely failing to notice that after I turned around, Victoria watched my retreating back, a storm of turbulent emotions raging in her icy eyes. She picked up her phone and dialed number. Assistant Miller, investigate. I want every detail on Caleb Stone from the last 2 years. I need to know exactly how he changed. Putting down the phone, she muttered to herself, I only slept for a while. How had the world changed so much? The 100 million arrived even faster than I imagined. Early the next morning, my phone buzzed with a bank notification. That long string of zeros made my heart bloom with joy. The lawyer called shortly after, and we set a time to quickly finalize the engagement termination. The moment I walked out of the lawyer's office, the sky felt bluer, the air sweeter. Freedom. I, Caleb Stone, was officially entering retirement mode as of today. First order of business: buy a house. I paid cash for a top-floor penthouse in the most expensive downtown district of Chicago, complete with a sky garden and an infinity pool. Second order of business: hiring. Through a headhunting firm, offering salaries far above market rate, I poached an all-star household management team. The head butler was named Winston, a man with hair combed meticulously in a place who spoke 5 languages. Under him was a team of chefs covering global cuisines, a wellness team for my health, and a security team composed entirely of retired Navy SEALs. When Winston first met me, his expression was solemn. "Mr. Stone, may I ask what your upcoming business plans are?" I was lying on a beach chair by the pool, sipping fresh squeezed orange juice, and answered lazily, "My plan is to have no plan." Winston froze. I waggled a finger. "Your mission isn't to help me conquer the business world. It's to help me take lying flat to the extreme, to make it professional. I want to eat the best, play with the best, and live in the utmost comfort. As for making money, that's just something that happens on the side." Winston and the elite team behind him looked at each other, their faces writing out the question. Did we get scammed? I smiled and snapped my fingers. My personal assistant, a financial genius I'd poached from Wall Street with triple pay, immediately handed over a tablet. "This is my investment plan for the next year. You take a look." Winston took the tablet. One glance, and his pupils constricted. The elites behind him crowded around, and I heard a series of sharp inhales. "This layout, it's flawless. Long on crude oil, shorting this specific tech stock. What is his basis? It's too precise. My God, if this plan succeeds, the annual return rate, it will flip at least 10 times. Winston held the tablet with both hands like it was a holy relic. The way he looked at me changed completely. He went from seeing a lazy trust fund kid to seeing an unfathomable God. "Mr. Stone, you don't ask. If you ask, it's just intuition." I waved my hand. "You just need to know that money isn't a worry. What you need to do is make me comfortable. For example, if I want lobster thermidor today, homemade rice wine tonight, and a teppanyaki party at home tomorrow, can you make it happen?" "Yes, of course." Winston stood at attention, his voice booming. "We guarantee to complete the mission. We will not fail your trust." I nodded with satisfaction. Good, my subordinates had great potential for hustling, so I didn't have to. In the days that followed, I lived the dream life of a useless person. Sleeping until I woke up naturally, working out a bit, swimming. The chef team cooked up a storm, varying from delicate French pastries to spicy Sichuan dishes. I ate with gusto. I also set up a small brewing workshop, hiring the best masters to teach me how to brew various spirits: whiskey, rice wine, sake. In my spare time, I lay in my sky garden, sipping my brew, watching my financial assistant report how many times my assets had multiplied. The hashtag Caleb didn't get up today was something I had my assistant register for fun, posting a single photo of me lying down every day. Unexpectedly, because the shell companies under my name saw their stock prices hitting the limit up repeatedly due to my investment plan, the hashtag went viral. Retail investors flooded the comments. "Please, Mr. Stone, keep sleeping. When you sleep, we make money. High quality, lying flat. Mr. Stone, my God, don't wake him up. I'll fight anyone who wakes him up." I read the comments, laughing so hard I rolled around on my lounge chair. Ah, this damn, corrupt, delightful capitalist life. Just when I thought my retired life would continue in this peaceful bliss forever, an unexpected visitor came knocking. "Mr. Stone, there is a Ms. Summer Vance outside. She says she is a friend and wishes to see you." Winston came to report respectfully. "A friend named Vance?" I searched my brain. The original host memory had no such person. Not seeing her, I turned over lazily. "Just say I'm asleep." My principle for anyone who might disturb my peace was simple: reject them all. "But she said she could bring you the taste of first love." Winston's expression was a bit odd as he said this. Taste of first love? My interest was piqued. Was this a new sales pitch? Let her in. A few minutes later, a girl wearing a white dress with hair reaching her waist walked in, carrying an exquisite food container. Sunlight streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows, coating her in a soft halo. She looked like a fairy walking out of a painting, clean, pure, untainted by dust. Seeing me, her eyes lit up, curving into beautiful crescents. "You must be Caleb Stone." Her voice was pleasant too, like a clear mountain spring. I nodded, my gaze landing on the box in her hand. The taste of first love. She pursed her lips in a smile, sat on the rattan chair opposite me, and opened the box. A scent of sweet, spiced rum and vanilla wafted out instantly. Inside the box was a serving of rum raisin bread pudding. It looked handmade, delicate, with a rich, golden glaze, garnished with a few goji berries and gold leaf. I heard the owner here likes to brew his own alcohol and enjoys traditional comfort desserts. She pushed a small dish toward me. Try it. It's my mother's secret rum sauce recipe, and I made the pudding. I looked at the pudding, suddenly dazed. In my past life, when I was a corporate drone working late into the night, my mom would always leave me a bowl of something warm and sweet like this. She said it was the taste of home. I didn't expect someone in this world to replicate that feeling. I picked up the spoon and took a bite. Sweet but not cloying, rich with the aroma of spirits, the pudding soft yet textured. It was exactly that taste. How is it? She looked at me with expectation, like a student waiting for praise. Not bad. I nodded and took another large bite. How did you find this place? My address was confidential, and the security system was top tier. My name is Summer Vance. She introduced herself. I'm a food blogger. I heard from a friend that a mysterious private kitchen had appeared in Chicago, making incredible food, but the owner was eccentric and never open to the public. I just wanted to try my luck. So you used a bowl of pudding to knock on my door? I looked at her, amused. Not entirely. Summer shook her head, speaking seriously. I looked up your information. I know you broke off your engagement with your fiancé. I also know you like fitness, love Chinese and fusion cuisine, and dislike red wine. I raised an eyebrow. This little girl was interesting. So you came prepared? I guess so. Summer admitted openly, her cheeks flushing slightly. I think you're a very interesting person. I wanted to make friends with you. When she spoke, her eyes sparkled, so honest that it was impossible to refuse. I looked at her and suddenly felt that adding such a pretty friend who could cook to my retired life wouldn't be bad. Just then, my cat, Slacker, a fat orange tabby, walked over with an elegant gait. He gave Summer a haughty glance. Then, a lively golden retriever puppy burst out from behind Summer, wagging its tail and nuzzling Slacker's leg affectionately. Slacker stiffened, seemingly debating whether to smack this creature that didn't know its place. But the golden retriever was too enthusiastic, licking Slacker's chin. Then I saw something that stunned me. My aloof orange cat, Slacker, actually purred in comfort, letting the puppy rub all over him. Summer smiled sheepishly. This is my dog, Hustle. He seems to really like your cat. Slacker and Hustle. I looked at the cat and dog, then at the girl named Summer, and couldn't help laughing out loud. This fate was a little wonderful. So, you can bring Hustle over to play with Slacker often. I leaned against the gym equipment, doing pull-ups, speaking to Summer, who was handing me water. Since that day, Summer had become a frequent visitor. She always managed to make delicious food in different styles, all hitting my preferences perfectly. We became close quickly. I found her very interesting. Despite being an heiress from a prominent family, she was passionate about domestic life. She would drive miles to the suburbs early in the morning for the freshest ingredients. She would pester my chef team to learn a dish. She had a vibrant, steaming vitality that made my lying flat life feel much more alive. Really? Summer looked at me in surprise, stars in her eyes. I finished a set of pull-ups and jumped down. My upper body muscles were pumped and glistening with sweat. Summer stared, her eyes fixed, and she subconsciously swallowed. You're sweating. I'll wipe it for you. She picked up a towel, her hand reaching toward my abs involuntarily. When her fingertips touched the warm, firm muscle, she pulled back as if burned, her face instantly turning beet red. Sorry. Watching her innocent and cute reaction put me in a great mood. I teased her intentionally. Touch if you want. I won't lose a piece of meat. Summer's face turned even redder, like a ripe apple, and she lowered her head, afraid to look at me. Who wants to touch? Though she said that, her eyes couldn't help drifting back to me. This girl, tough mouth but soft heart. Goo. Just then, my assistant, the Wall Street elite, walked in hurriedly, his face grave. Boss, Ms. Sterling from Sterling Corp wants to speak with you. Victoria? What did she want? I took the phone. Hello, Ms. Sterling. What can I do for you? Did you finish spending the $100 million and want more? Silence on the other end. Then Victoria's cold voice. Caleb, did you know all along there was a problem with Julian? I raised an eyebrow. That's not important. It's important to me. Victoria's voice held a trace of urgency. Assistant Miller found that while I was in a coma, Julian embezzled nearly $50 million from the company. And The investment firms under your name have been secretly acquiring scattered shares of Sterling Corp. What exactly do you want? So she found out. I bought the shares purely because I thought Sterling stock would rise and I'd make money. As for Julian, he dug his own grave. Ms. Sterling, we've broken our engagement. Your company, your white moonlight, have nothing to do with me. My tone was flat. I'm just a retiree who wants to lie flat. I have no interest in your corporate intrigues. Victoria seemed choked by my attitude. I could imagine her frowning ice queen face. Caleb, are you blaming me? Her voice suddenly dropped, carrying a trace of undetectable grievance. I paused, suspecting I heard wrong. Blame you for what? Blame you for not giving me the 100 million sooner. I scoffed. All right, Ms. Stedelijk, I'm Busa, busy enjoying life. Hanging up now. Without waiting for a response, I hung up. Beside me, Summer blinked her big eyes and asked curiously, was that your ex-fiancée? Yeah, she seems to care about you a lot. Summer pouted slightly, sounding a bit sour. Watching her jealous look, my heart moved. I reached out and pinched her cheek. Plenty of people care about me. Haven't you seen the news? Shareholders are begging me to sleep more. I leaned close to her ear, lowering my voice. But the only one allowed to wipe sweat off my abs is you. Summer's ears turned red instantly. She covered her face, muttering, pervert. Seeing her shy reaction, my mood improved completely. Forget the ex-fiancée, forget the white moonlight. The sweet, soft girl in front of me was much more important. To coax my jealous little glutton, I decided to cook personally and take her to experience some down-to-earth life. Come on, taking you somewhere good. I grabbed Summer's hand. It was soft, boneless. I squeezed it tighter instinctively. We didn't go to a high-end mall, but to the oldest, noisiest farmer's market in the west side of the city. It was full of shouting vendors, haggling, and a mixed sense of fresh vegetables, fish, and cooked food. Instead of being disgusted, Summer, the heiress who never touched spring water, lit up with excitement. Wow, this eggplant is so purple. Sir, how much is this fish? She was like a happy butterfly, flitting between stalls, fascinated by everything. I followed her, watching her argue with a vendor over 10 cents until her face was red, then smugly showing off her victory to me. I couldn't help laughing. Truly cute. Completely different from those socialites who only discussed luxury goods and high tea. What are you laughing at? Summer puffed out her cheeks. Laughing at how cute you are. I picked a strawberry from a nearby stand and fed it to her. Summer blushed, chewing small bites, her eyes sweet like crescent moons. Just then, screeching brakes pierced the air. An out-of-control van careened madly toward us. The crowd screamed and scattered. Summer went pale, frozen in place, unable to move. Watch out! My pupils constricted. Without thinking, I yanked her into my arms and simultaneously kicked out sideways, landing a precise blow on the van's front tire. Using leverage and force, the kick diverted the wheel. The van grazed us, slammed into a nearby utility pole with a loud bang, and stopped. The whole thing happened in a flash. By the time the crowd reacted, the dust had settled. In my arms, Summer was trembling. I patted her back gently. It's okay. Don't be afraid. She looked up, eyes red, staring at me with fear and dependence. Just now? Thank you. Thank me for what? Protecting you is my job, isn't it? As soon as I spoke, several men in black suits rushed out from the crowd and subdued the van driver. It was my team of ex-SEAL bodyguards. They handled everything before I even gave an order. Winston appeared just in time, opening a black umbrella to shield us from prying eyes. Mr. Stone, Miss. Vance, are you all right? The car is ready. Let's leave. I nodded, keeping my arm around the still shaken Summer, and we left the market under escort. The vendors and passers-by stared, stunned by the movie-like scene. My God, that guy was so handsome. Stopped the car with a kick. His girlfriend is beautiful too. Hero saves beauty, so sweet. Some girls covered their mouths, screaming softly, eyes full of stars. Sitting in the car on the way back, Summer held onto my arm tightly, saying nothing. I thought she was terrified, still scared. I ruffled her hair. She shook her head, then looked up, staring at me with incredible seriousness. Caleb, I think I'm falling more and more in love with you. Her directness made my heart jump. Looking at her clear, determined eyes, I felt my heart being gently bumped by something. A little itch, a little numbness, and a little sweetness. Sterling Corp, CEO's office. Victoria stared blankly at the investigation report in her hand, but her white-knuckled grip on her pen betrayed her inner turmoil. The first page was Caleb's asset assessment, a string of numbers that even she found staggering. Since leaving her, in just 1 month, using the $100 million she gave him as capital, he had turned the capital markets upside down. His net worth was now approaching a tenth of Sterling Corp's entire market cap. And all this was accomplished while he slept until noon and enjoyed life. The second page was his network. A Wall Street financial wizard as his assistant, a legendary chef as his cook, and even his security detail was run by the founder of a world-famous security firm. These were people she had tried to recruit and failed. Now, they willingly gathered around Caleb just to make his lying flat more comfortable. It was absurd. The last page was a photo, taken at a noisy market. Caleb held a girl tightly in his arms, eyes sharp looking forward, while the girl looked at him with utter dependence. She knew the girl, Summer Vance, the only daughter of the Vance family, a true heiress whose background was even a tier higher than the Sterlings. Victoria's finger unconsciously traced Summer's brilliant smile in the photo, her nail digging into the screen. She couldn't understand. The Caleb who used to follow her around, eyes full of adoration and fawning, too scared to even speak loudly. How did he suddenly become this person she didn't recognize? Powerful, mysterious, lazy, and fatally attractive. Especially the tenderness he showed that girl, Summer. That genuine, doting smile. It was something she, after waking from a 2-year coma, couldn't buy even with marriage. Ring. The internal line buzzed, interrupting her thoughts. Ms. Sterling, Mr. Vane is here again. He's making a scene downstairs, insisting on seeing you. Tell him to get lost. Victoria's voice was cold as ice. But he says he has dirt on Caleb. If you don't see him, he'll leak it to the press. Victoria's eyes sharpened. Send him up. Minutes later, a haggard Julian rushed in, wearing a look of manic excitement. Vicky, you finally agreed to see me. I knew you still had me in your heart. Victoria looked at him coldly. Talk. What dirt? Julian pulled a stack of photos from his jacket and threw them on the desk. Look, this is the Caleb you trusted. Behind your back, he's hooking up with other women. This woman is Summer Vance, from the Vance family. They've been having an affair for ages. The photos showed Caleb and Summer at the market, in his home gym, in the Sky Garden. In every single one, the intimacy was blinding. Victoria's heart felt like it was pricked by a needle, a dense, throbbing pain. But her face remained expressionless. She picked up the photos, looking at them one by one. She saw the smile in Caleb's eyes when he cooked for Summer. She saw Caleb's helpless but doting expression when Summer tried to touch his abs. She saw the figure of Caleb unhesitatingly shielding Summer when danger struck. She suddenly understood. Caleb hadn't changed. He just gave all his goodness to someone else. And she, from start to finish, had never received it. No, perhaps she once had it, but she pushed it away with her own hands. A massive wave of regret drowned her. She realized she hadn't just lost a fiancé. She lost a whole world that should have been hers. Sterling Corp held a grand business gala to celebrate Victoria's recovery and her official takeover of the group. The elite of Chicago were all present. I didn't want to come, but Summer said her parents wanted to meet me. So, wearing the bespoke suit Winston prepared, I appeared at the gala with Summer. Our entrance caused a stir. That's the Vance heiress and her mysterious boyfriend? He's really handsome, great aura. Wonder where he's from. She'll keep it down. I heard Ms. Sterling's ex-fiancé was also named Caleb. Ignoring the prying eyes, I took Summer straight to meet her parents. Mr. Vance was a refined middle-aged man, and Mrs. Vance was well-preserved, looking more like Summer's sister. They looked at me with the scrutiny of in-laws, but mostly satisfaction. Caleb, our Summer has been spoiled by us since childhood. You'll have to bear with her, Mrs. Vance said, grinning while holding my hand. Don't worry, ma'am. I'll take good care of her. I promised with a smile. Nearby, Julian held a drink, staring at us with venomous eyes. Since being kicked out by Victoria, his career had tanked, and the Vane family was in trouble due to his embezzlement. He blamed it all on me. Well, isn't this Caleb Stone? What? Got discarded by the Sterlings and climbed up the Vance ladder. Your skill at eating soft rice is getting better and better. He raised his voice intentionally, wanting everyone to hear. The guests immediately looked over, ready for a show. Summer's face darkened, ready to explode. I held her hand, shaking my head. Then I looked at Julian like he was a dancing clown. Better than someone who wanted to eat soft rice, but couldn't, and ended up putting themselves in legal trouble. Julian turned pale. Just then, the host, Victoria, walked out surrounded by a crowd. She wore a black evening gown that made her skin look like snow, radiating the aura of an ice queen. Her gaze swept the room, finally locking precisely onto me. Then lifting her glass, she walked through the crowd, step by step, toward me. Everyone held their breath. Ex-fiancé, Current girlfriend, showdown. Julian smirked, waiting to see me humiliated. Victoria stopped in front of me and raised her glass. Caleb, long time no see. Ms. Sterling. I nodded faintly, too lazy to even raise my glass. The atmosphere instantly dropped to freezing point. Caleb, I have some things I want to discuss with you alone. Victoria's voice was cool as always, but if you listened closely, there was a hidden plea. Before I could speak, Summer stepped forward, linking her arm through mine and smiling brightly at Victoria. Sorry, Ms. Sterling. My boyfriend is shy around strangers. Whatever you have to say, you can say to me. Her words caused an uproar. Everyone knew Victoria was a tyrant in business. Summer was openly provoking her. Victoria's face darkened visibly. She stared at Summer's hand on my arm, eyes cold enough to freeze water. I sensed the tension and was about to smooth things over. Suddenly, the giant screen at the gala cut to breaking financial news. Breaking news. Due to a sudden black swan event overseas, global stock markets have crashed. Major indices have triggered circuit breakers. The tech sector is leading the plunge, with several giants facing bankruptcy. The news detonated the room. Everyone here was a business mogul. This was a thunderclap. What? Circuit breaker. My God, I just leveraged up on tech stocks yesterday. It's over. It's all over. Amidst the wailing, I saw Victoria's face turn deathly pale. Sterling Corp was in the middle of a major pivot, heavily invested in the tech sector. With this crash, Sterling was in critical danger. My financial assistant immediately leaned in, whispering rapidly, Boss, everything is as predicted. Our short positions have already profited over $3 billion. Also, Sterling Corp stock has hit the floor. In half an hour, it will trigger a forced liquidation. The Sterling family will lose control of the company. I nodded. I knew all of this was in my plan. The so-called Black Swan was just a smokescreen I had my team release overseas. The goal was to short the market and teach certain people a lesson. Julian was now colorless, slumped on the floor muttering, Over. The veins are finished. Clearly, he had invested heavily too. Victoria was holding herself up, making frantic calls, but every call brought worse news. Despair shrouded the gala. Everyone was like ants on a hot pan. Only I casually took a piece of tiramisu from a waiter's tray and fed it to Summer. Try this, it's not bad. Summer opened her mouth obediently, took a bite, and narrowed her eyes in satisfaction. We were completely out of place in this doomsday atmosphere. Victoria finally put down the phone. She looked at me, so lost, her eyes filled with despair and a beg. Caleb, you. I cut her off, wiping my mouth slowly. Ms. Sterling, business is war. You bet you lose. Then I took out my phone and, in front of everyone, dialed my assistant. Pull back. I said just 2 words. The assistant on the other end paused, then realized. Boss, stop now. Our profits could double. I said pull back. My tone brooked no argument. Also, transfer the Sterling shares we hold back to Sterling Corp at the original price. The assistant fell silent. The whole room fell silent. Everyone looked at me like I was insane, giving up billions in profit and spitting out the meat in my mouth. What kind of move was this? Only I knew. I had no interest in destroying the Sterlings. I just wanted to tell her that I, Caleb Stone, wasn't someone she could repay with a favor or discard at will. I looked at the pale Victoria and said calmly, I didn't do this for you. My girlfriend just thought the dessert tonight was a bit bitter, and it affected her mood. With that, I took Summer's hand and, under everyone's shocked gaze, turned to leave. At the door, my assistant was waiting, looking at me with fanatical worship. Boss, you're a legend. The hashtag Caleb gives up billions for girlfriend's mood is already trending. Me? Get lost. Don't disturb my lying flat. After that night, my legend circulated through Chicago's business world. Some said I had connections to the heavens. Others said I was a clairvoyant god. But for me, life didn't change. I still lay in my sky garden every day, drinking booze and soaking up the sun. The only difference was a chirping little sparrow beside me. Caleb, look. This is a photo someone secretly took of us at the market. Netizens say we look so good together. Caleb, look at this comment. He says he wants to bear your children, haha. And it's a guy. Summer held up her phone, laughing back and forth beside me. I shook my head helplessly and pulled her into my arms. Stop looking at that. Look at me. Her laughter stopped abruptly. Her cheeks flushed, and she obediently leaned against my chest, listening to my strong heartbeat. Peaceful years just like this. Ding dong. The doorbell rang. Winston came to report. Sir, Ms. Sterling is here. She says she wants to thank you in person. I frowned. Why does this woman linger like a ghost? Not seeing her. She said if you don't see her, she'll wait outside forever. I sighed. In my arms, Summer looked up, understanding. Let her in. Some things are better cleared up face to face. I pinched her nose. You're too generous. Minutes later, Victoria walked in. She had shed the aggressive black gown for a simple, white, casual outfit, looking less sharp and more haggard. She held a thermos. Seeing Summer and me snuggled intimately, her eyes dimmed, but she quickly regained composure. Caleb, thank you. She placed the thermos on the table. I made the soup myself. It's your favorite from before. I looked at the soup, feeling nothing. The old Caleb liked it, not me. Ms. Sterling, you're too kind. My tone was distant. It was barely an effort, don't mention it. If there's nothing else, you can leave. My coldness stabbed her like a knife. Caleb, she bit her lip, mustering courage. I know I was wrong before. I ignored you, misunderstood you. Can you give me another chance? Was she asking to get back together? Before I spoke, Summer sat up from my arms. She walked to Victoria, picked up the soup, and smiled gently. Ms. Sterling, let the past stay in the past. What he likes to drink now is the soup I make. Saying that, she pushed a bowl of soup in front of me closer. It was lotus root and rib soup, which I had just been drinking. Victoria looked at the soup, then at me, the color draining from her face. She finally understood. It wasn't possible between her and Caleb anymore. Not because she wasn't good enough, or because of her mistakes. Simply because there was someone else beside him who could make him willingly drink a whole bowl. Understand. Victoria smiled miserably, turned, and stumbled away. Her back looked desolate and lonely. Watching her leave, I felt no joy, only peace. I had no hate or love for this character. She was just a passerby in my retired life. I turned to Summer. She was pouting, wearing a I'm generous but still a bit unhappy expression. I laughed, pulled her over, and kissed her. Dummy, jealous? I am not. Then what's this? I pointed at her pocket lips. She blushed and punched my chest lightly. You're annoying. The sun was just right, the breeze gentle. My life was complete because of her. After the gala incident, Victoria went quiet for a while. My life returned to peace, sticking to Summer every day, researching food, playing with the cat and dog, living happier than a god. Summer was a little sun, always full of energy. She dragged me to pottery class, flower arranging, and even signed us up for couples yoga. Watching her try to hold difficult poses on the mat, then falling into my arms because of bad balance, blushing and acting shamelessly, my heart turned to mush. This mundane yet sweet daily life made me, a man who worked himself to death in a past life, feel the warmth of living for the first time. One day, we were playing in the pool in the backyard. Summer swam like a mermaid, weaving through the water, then suddenly popped up behind me, wrapping around me like an octopus. Caught you. She laughed triumphantly, water droplets dripping from her hair onto my chest, tickling. I embraced her, flipping over to press her against the pool wall. Oh, who caught whom? I looked down at her. Water dripped from my chin onto her lips. Her cheeks flushed, eyes hazy, breathing quickening. The atmosphere instantly became charged. Just as I was about to kiss her, a scenery-ruining voice spoke up. Sir, Miss Vance, pardon the intrusion. Winston stood by the pool, looking like he didn't want to be there either. Ms. Sterling is here again. Me? Does this woman have a radar? Why does she show up at crucial moments? Summer's face fell too. She slid off me, paddling angrily. Was it this time? I asked impatiently. She says she has something she must return to you personally. I frowned, unable to think of anything of mine she had. Make her wait. I lazily swam with Summer a bit longer until her anger subsided, then dried off, put on a robe, and sauntered to the living room. Victoria was sitting upright on the sofa, back straight like a perfect statue. Seeing me, she stood up holding a small, somewhat worn rabbit plushie. I was confused. Did you forget? Victoria's voice was raspy. This was the first gift you gave me. Back then, you had just arrived at the Sterling house, very timid. You said I looked lonely, so you gave me a rabbit to keep me company. I dug through the original host's memories and found this event. The original host was a naive boy. Seeing Victoria being groomed as an heir with no friends or childhood, he felt pity and spent his saved allowance to buy this rabbit. The result? Victoria threw it in the trash on the spot. She said, I don't need childish things. Since then, the original host never gave her anything, only careful fawning. I thought you threw it away, I said flatly. I didn't. Victoria shook her head, eyes rimmed with red. I secretly picked it back up later. For 2 years, it's been by my bed. She handed the rabbit to me. Now, returning it to its owner, I looked at the rabbit, then at her. Ms. Sterling, are you mistaken? I didn't take it. The person who gave you this doll was the old Caleb. I am not him. Victoria's body trembled violently. What do you mean? I look her in the eye, enunciating every word. The Caleb who loved you to the point of being pathetic, who would do anything for you, died a long time ago. Killed by your coldness and neglect, over and over again. The me standing here is just a regular guy who wants to live his own life. So, put away your deep affection and your regret. To me, they are meaningless. With that, I stopped looking at her and turned to walk away. Caleb, she called out from behind, voice breaking. Then what about me? What do I do? I didn't stop. That's your problem. It has nothing to do with me. Some people, once missed, are missed for a lifetime. Having driven Victoria away, my world was finally quiet. To reward me for good behavior, Summer decided to host a live stream. The theme, making a loving dinner for boyfriend. She was already a food blogger with millions of followers. As soon as the stream started, popularity exploded. Goddess Summer is finally streaming again. What are you making? Loving dinner? Is it for the mysterious boyfriend? Face reveal, please. I don't care about dinner. I want to know who the boyfriend is. Summer watched the chat, smiling slyly. Don't rush, guys. Today isn't just dinner. There's also an exclusive scoop. Her words sent the chat into a frenzy, gifs flying across the screen. Then, she dragged me out of the study and pushed me into a chair at the dining table. The camera angle only showed my back and hands. Tajda, this is my royal taste tester, Summer announced playfully. The chat went crazy. Boyfriend's back. Such broad shoulders. Looks so safe. Those hands are gorgeous. Bony, pale, long fingers. Hand fetish heaven. Summer, turn him around. We want to see the face. Summer stuck out her tongue. Can't. He's shy. Me? I wasn't shy. I was just too lazy to move. Summer started busy work in the open kitchen. She was making a home-style tomato braised brisket. Her movements were skilled. Clearly, she cooked often. She chatted with me while she worked. Taste this broth. How's the salt? She blew on a spoon and fed it to me. I drank it and nodded. Perfect. The chat howled again. So sweet. Feeding him soup personally. Did this man save the galaxy in his past life? To have our goddess cook for him. I'm sour. I'm really sour. Lemon tree, lemon fruit. Under the tree, just me and you. When the dish was done, Summer served me a huge bowl, looking at me expectantly. Try it. Is it good? I took a bite. The brisket was tender, the tomatoes sweet and tart. It was truly delicious. Delicious. I praised sincerely. She smiled like a kid who stole candy. Just then, a discordant comment floated by. TCH, just a soft rice-eating pretty boy. What's so great about him? This comment sparked outrage, fans attacking immediately. But Summer saw it. Her smile vanished instantly. She put down her chopsticks, walked to the camera, expression serious as never before. I saw someone say my boyfriend is a pretty boy living off a woman. She took a deep breath, seemingly making a big decision. Then today, I'll let you see exactly who this pretty boy is. Saying that, she grabbed the phone and pointed the camera right at me. My face, defenseless, appeared before tens of millions of people. In a live stream, a few seconds of dead silence. Then, the chat exploded. Holy SHD, isn't that the legendary stock god, Mr. Caleb #didn't get up today's stone. Mom, Summer's boyfriend is him. The god-tier tycoon who gave up billions for his girlfriend's mood. Case closed. This isn't a pretty boy. This is a gold mine. I take back what I said. I approve of this marriage. Talented man and beautiful woman. A match made in heaven. Watching the exploding chat, Summer lifted her chin proudly, like a little peacock. She walked to my side, in front of everyone, wrapped her arms around my neck, and planted a big kiss on my cheek. That's right. He is Caleb Stone, my boyfriend. In the highest profile way possible, she declared her sovereignty to the world. After the live stream incident, my romance with Summer swept through the internet like a tornado. #Goddess Summer boyfriend is stock god Caleb. #, fairy tale love. You kook for my spend billions for your #. Various topics dominated the trending list. My lying flat. Life was thoroughly shattered. Countless reporters camped outside my house, wanting to interview the mysterious tycoon crazy for love. Annoyed, I took Summer and flew to my private island for vacation. The island was beautiful. Azure sea, blue sky, coconut groves, white sand. During the day, we fished and dived. At night, we lay on the beach, watching stars, listening to waves. Summer leaned into my chest, looking up at the starry sky. Caleb, do you think we'll always be like this? Of course. I kissed her forehead. We'll be like this until we're old folks. She smiled happily, nuzzling into my arms to find a comfortable spot. Speaking of which, I haven't heard about your past. She asked curiously, are you so good at making money? It feels like you do nothing, and money just runs into your pocket. I smiled. I couldn't tell her I was a transmigrator with a God mode view, right? Because in my last life, I was overworked, I said half-jokingly. So in this life, I want to make up for all the vacations I missed. Then, what about your ex-fiancée? She asked cautiously. Did you love her very much before? I was silent for a moment. The one who loved her was someone else, not me. Summer nodded, seeming to understand but not quite, and didn't pry further. That was her way, smart, knowing how to give space. Let's not talk about that. She scrambled up. Let's go catch crabs. I'll make spicy crab for you tonight. Okay. Watching her cheerful figure elongated by the moonlight, I felt my heart filled to the brim. Plot. Side characters go to hell. I just wanted my little son, Summer. I didn't expect trouble to find us anyway. A helicopter roared and landed on my island. Stepping out was Julian Vane, but he no longer had his former swagger. He wore a prison uniform, handcuffed, flanked by 2 officers. Caleb Stone. Seeing me, his eyes turned instantly red, like a trapped beast driven to a dead end. It's you. It's all your fault. I frowned. I don't have the spare time to ruin you. You dare deny it. Julian struggled violently. If not for you, Vicky wouldn't have broken up with me. If not for you, the Vanes wouldn't be bankrupt. How would I end up like this? An officer held him down. Behave. Julian Vane, you are suspected of commercial fraud and embezzlement. The evidence is solid. Come back with us for investigation. Ignoring the police, Julian stared dead at me, eyes full of insane hatred. Suddenly, he broke free from the hold, pulled a fruit knife from somewhere, and charged at me like a madman. I'm going to kill you. I'll take you with me. It happened too fast. Summer screamed and instinctively blocked in front of me. No. My pupils constricted. I tried to pull her away, but it was too late. The gleaming knife was about to plunge into Summer. Bang! A gunshot shattered the island's tranquility. Julian's body stiffened. The fruit knife clattered to the ground, less than a centimeter from Summer. A bloody hole appeared in his chest. He looked down in disbelief, then at me. You. He collapsed straight back before finishing. Behind me, my security captain held a pistol with a silencer, smoke still drifting from the barrel. He nodded to me, then immediately directed his men to secure the scene and contact the authorities. The process was professional, efficient, without hesitation. I didn't care about any of that. I grabbed the shell-shocked Summer, my heart pounding like it wanted to burst out of my chest. Are you okay? Are you hurt? I checked her frantically. Summer shook her head, then wailed, throwing herself into my arms. I thought I'd never see you again. She cried breathlessly, trembling like a leaf in the wind. I held her tight, feeling like I had died once too. In that moment, if my bodyguard hadn't been fast, the consequences were unthinkable. I had never been so scared. And I never realized so clearly how important this girl was to me. She was someone I would protect with my life. I held her, soothing her for a long time until she calmed down. The police arrived quickly, taking Julian's body and statements. Since it was self-defense, we had no trouble. But the accident cast a shadow over our perfect vacation. That night, Summer had nightmares, crying "don't" in her sleep. I held her, whispering comfort, awake all night. The next day, I made a decision. I took Summer off the island, back to Chicago. Then, in front of her parents, I knelt on one knee and took out the ring Winston had prepared long ago. A pink diamond, simple in design, but shocking in size. Summer. I looked up at her, my eyes more serious and solemn than ever before. I used to think marriage was a grave, a shackle. But after meeting you, I realized that being with the person you like, doing anything is happiness. I don't want to live a day without you. I don't want you to be hurt ever again. So, will you marry me? Let me spend my whole life protecting you, caring for you, loving you. Summer covered her mouth, tears falling like broken pearls. Behind her, Mr. and Mrs. Vance were teary-eyed too. Crying and laughing, she nodded vigorously. Ido. Ido. I slipped the ring on her finger, stood up, and pulled her into my arms. The world is noisy, but from now on, my world only has you. Our wedding was simple and warm. No media invited, just close family and friends. The venue was my sky garden overlooking the river. Summer wore a wedding dress I designed personally, looking like a true princess. Under everyone's blessings, we exchanged rings and vowed a lifetime. After the wedding, the guests dispersed. I carried a tipsy Summer back to our room. The room was covered in rose petals, fragrant. Caleb, I'm So happy today. She wrapped her arms around my neck, nuzzling my face like a spoiled kitten. Me too. I lowered my head and kissed her. From now on, I am no longer a lonely transmigrator. I have a home, a lover, a treasure I am willing to spend a lifetime guarding. Years later, Sterling Corp, CEO's office. Victoria finished the last document, leaning back exhaustedly. Habitually, she picked up her phone and clicked on an account she had followed for years. Hashtag Caleb didn't get up today. Hashtag latest update was a photo. In the photo, Caleb lay on a beach chair. A pink, doll-like little girl was riding on his stomach, giggling. Summer sat nearby, watching the father and daughter tenderly, holding a slice of watermelon. Time was gentle, happiness so palpable it sparked jealousy. The caption was from Summer. Not only did he not get up today, he was ridden like a horse by his little princess. The comments were full of laughter and blessings. Victoria stared at the photo for a long, long time. Then, she exited the account and turned off her phone. She opened a drawer, pulling out a worn rabbit plushie from the very back. She hugged the doll, burying her face in it, her shoulders shaking silently. Outside the window, the sunset dyed the city a warm gold. Inside the office, there was only an unknown, freezing loneliness. Life is a grand meeting. Some people, once missed, are missed for a lifetime. Story complete.